Why you always compare us Asian girls? Why you never talk about dating German girls? Yeah, these are the comments I receive from time to time. Yeah, from women, but also from guys who then write comments like, "Hey, bro, why don't you talk about dating German girls? Why you always talk about dating Indonesian women?" and stuff like that. So today I will tell you and share the story why I stopped dating white girls. And I mean, on one side I can understand these comments, yeah, but on the other side I do not understand these comments at all, because you don't know my backstory. So that's why I'm sharing this with you today. Until 20 years ago, yeah, until 2005, I was not interested in Asian women at all. Yeah, up until this year, let's say 20 years ago, I dated white women, white girls, Swiss women, Austrian women, German women, stuff like that. Actually, my latest or the last girlfriend I had in Germany was in 2002. Yeah, that was the year when we broke up. So this is like 23 years ago. So my last German girlfriend experience is already 23 years ago. That's a very long time. And up until 2005, I worked in Switzerland. As I mentioned, I dated also other white girls over there. But I got in touch already with some Chinese girls at the time, because the hotel I worked for, there were also Chinese students there. They did practical trainings. They visited the hotel school there in Switzerland, so they worked at our hotel also. So yeah, I found them cute, some of them, but I was not really interested to hook up with them or something like that, I also remember when I worked in Switzerland, actually kind of hooking up with one Chinese girl. Her name was Jessica. She was really pretty. She told me she worked as a model in Shanghai. She was very young at the time, I think 21 years old. And I was like, I don't know, it's a long time ago. I was 23 or something like that. Yeah. We met in Arosa, a very famous skiing and snowboarding and winter sport destination. But anyway, that was just like nothing really special. We just were holding hands and stuff like that. So, but I remember she was a very pretty girl. So I was interested in her, but not particularly, or not in general, in Asian girls. So that all changed when I moved to Auckland in New Zealand in 2005. I took up a job as a sous chef. A sous chef is the deputy chef. I worked at the time for the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Auckland. This hotel doesn't exist anymore. And this whole experience changed everything forever. So because in our hotel there in the the Hyatt Regency in Auckland, we had a lot of Chinese, excuse me, a little bit noisy. I'm gonna go to another area anyway. So at our hotel we had a lot of Asian girls working there, and when we had banquet events, I remember we had a lot of part-timers. We used a lot of part-timers because we needed them to help out, and a lot of these part-timers were actually Chinese students, young girls, attractive, pretty, and they all studied in Auckland. Yeah? Auckland is, I didn't know it at the time, a famous university city, and we have tons and heaps of Southeast Asian women from all over the place, Malaysia, Korea, you name it. My roommate was a Japanese girl, yeah. So Auckland and obviously New Zealand and Australia are very famous with the Southeast Asian countries. So we had these Chinese students helping out at our hotel, and then I learned, I mean, half of our kitchen staff were German dudes, you know, all young, and we were on our early 20s, and most of these German dudes, my German buddies, my German colleagues, they had Chinese girlfriends, these Chinese students, you know. So this is how I got interested also in Chinese women and Chinese girls. Somehow it somehow made click. I don't know why. And then I also was interested to hook up with these girls, you know. And then later I learned that what I just mentioned, that and then actually it came to my attention. I noticed the sheer amount of Asian women, not only Asian women but also Asians in general, in Auckland, you know, because it's a university city and you have a lot of foreign students there. And yeah, so that's the story how I got interested, and I got really interested. I was really into Asian girls suddenly, especially Chinese girls, you know. I don't know what happened. My taste just changed in a pretty rapidly. And this is also the time when I decided to leave Auckland, because I wasn't happy there anyway with my job, you know, and the way I had to live there in flat sharing and stuff. This was not really my thing at the time anymore. So I decided to leave Auckland, and I applied for Beijing in China. I wanted to go to China, I knew that, you know. Mainly, I can tell you, because of the girls. Yeah, at the time I was 28 already, huh? Yeah, 28, and I kind of caught fire with these Chinese girls. So I wanted to work in China, I wanted to live in China, I wanted to date in China, and I wanted to, yeah, get to know these girls. I actually got lucky and secured a job in Beijing in 2005 also, yeah. But that was a very short episode actually, because after 6 weeks I was released from my job, let's put it like this, okay? Because I totally fucked it up, you know. As I just mentioned, I was 28. I was a really horny guy, I can tell you. I was single. You know, I didn't need the money, but I was a very horny guy, and I caught fire, you know. And I noticed in Auckland, hey man, these Chinese chicks, they're really awesome. They're gorgeous and they're pretty. They're just attractive, you know. For me, my taste changed. So how did I fuck it up in Beijing? Yeah, you know, at the time I didn't know how the game was being played. I'm not talking about the dating game, but the expat game, you know. I was an expat at the time. The hotel hired me. It was an international hotel chain, and you get a pretty good contract, good salary. You live in the hotel, you know, you get a lot of extra benefits. You don't pay rent, nothing. You get meals for free. So a great package, you know. These expat packages at the time were great. You could save a lot of money. You could also spend a lot of money. So anyway, so I lived in the hotel, but the mistake I made is that I brought the girls always to my hotel room, you know, and I even picked them up in the lobby, you know. So really stupid behavior, you know. So I worked there, so the front desk staff and the security staff, for example, they knew who I was, and they saw, oh, the chef now here is escorting a Chinese girl to his room, you know. These kind of things, stupid mistakes. I made it too obvious, and then I also didn't get along with my boss. This was an Austrian guy and other things. So, but I also believe that this woman thing played a role in the decision to actually release me after 6 weeks. You know, of course they didn't tell me that, but in hindsight, I must admit, you know, I was really stupid, you know. Anyway, so I got kicked out. I got fired. Let's put it like this. Let's be honest, okay? They fired me. Today I can laugh about it, you know. And then, you know, I was kind of really, I was really, how to say, I was down for life actually, because at the same time I also met another Chinese girl in a club there in Beijing, in a dance club. It was called Bananas. And this girl kind of approached me, you know, her name was Annika, and then we got talking. I kind of had a crush on her, and then I had to leave Beijing. I was really down, you know, I was depressed, not in a good mood, and I decided to apply again for China, and I applied hard, and eventually I made it to Hong Kong. And what happened in Hong Kong, I made videos about that. So initially my motivation to go back to China was also because I wanted to continue dating Chinese women. I wanted to get back with this girl I met in Beijing. Her name was Annika, as I mentioned, and she was actually from Hong Kong. So, you know, and then later it turned out she also moved back to Hong Kong, so I was lucky. But obviously career-wise also that was a great opportunity. I mean, who ever has a chance to work in Hong Kong? I was the lucky one, and of course I was happy to secure that job. But actually I applied in Shanghai and in Hong Kong, and my preference was Shanghai, but I got a job in Hong Kong. But in hindsight I must say it was the better deal in Hong Kong, because, you know, I mean, I will do a separate video on Hong Kong in the near future. I will talk about Disneyland East. I've released, as I mentioned, a few videos already about how I met my first Filipina girlfriend and how I met my first bar girl or something like that, right? So I was talking about my dating experiences already in a few of my videos, but I've never done really a video about Hong Kong itself and why it is really the best place in Asia to enjoy your life as a single man. And I will talk about this, why nothing really beats Hong Kong, or in other words Disneyland East as I call it, when it comes to dating and having fun with Southeast Asian women. So initially when I arrived in Hong Kong, I was still into Hong Kong Chinese girls, or Chinese girls, you know. But it didn't really work out. You know, Hong Kong girls are also a little bit, let's go here. Hong Kong girls are also a little bit, they're not so easy to get, let's put it like this, okay? But anyway, I managed to date 2 Hong Kong Chinese girls. The first one was actually an interesting mix. She was half Hong Kong Chinese and half Japanese. I remember she was very wild, and the other one was actually my colleague. We worked together, but anyway, pretty soon after my arrival in Hong Kong, probably a couple of months later, I already started to go out, you know, and then I met the Filipinas. The Filipinas first, you know, I dated them, I hung out with them, I had fun with them. And this was a totally new experience also for me, because I never dated these girls before. And except when I was living in California at the time, there were a lot of Filipinos and Filipinas, but they were all immigrants. So I knew them, yeah, but I was not into them. So in Hong Kong everything changed, and I started to date the Filipinas, and I noticed how nice women they were and what kind of fun you could have with them, right? And later on I met the Indonesian women, and this is what I already talked about in my videos. So this is the story of why I stopped dating white girls. That happened in Auckland in 2005, 20 years ago. I was exposed to many Asian women there, especially the Chinese women, and somehow my taste switched immediately, and it has actually not changed since then, and therefore I'm not interested to date white women. There's nothing, there's no sensation inside my body or mind to take any action. It's just like it is, you know. So here you have the explanation. So now you can stop making these comments. Why I always talk about dating Asian girls and never talk about dating German girls. You know, first of all, I left Germany in 1998. Yeah, this is like 27 years ago. And my last German girlfriend, as I said, was in 2002. I have nothing to do with Germany, really, and I don't want to have anything to do with Germany, really, and I don't want to have anything to do with German girls. I'm not interested in them. Yeah, it's like staring at a blank wall. There's nothing. Yeah, it's the same with food. You like French fries and you hate, I don't know, boiled potatoes. So what can you do? Yeah, nothing. And I spent the biggest part of my life now outside of Germany. So the only thing I have still kept today exactly is my beautiful, strong German accent. I will never get rid of, right? And I know some of you guys are mocking me for this. It's all good, you know. You also have to see, I mean, when I lived in California, actually, if I want to speak with an American accent, I can do it. Actually, and here we are at the Sultan's Palace, by the way. Yeah, it's called the Kraton. Here is the place where the Sultan of Yogyakarta is actually residing and living, I was told. I never visited this place really because I'm not interested in that kind of stuff, you know. But anyway, so yeah, when I lived in California, of course I naturally adopted the dialect there and the way they speak and the words and everything. If I really want and focus, I can talk like them, you know, like the Californians. I can be red, you know. But I spend most of my time actually in non-English speaking countries like in Southeast Asia, and you know, everybody who traveled to Southeast Asia know how these people here speak, you know. They speak with Indonesian accent, they speak English with Indonesian accent, they speak English with Singaporean accent or Malaysian accent or Chinese accent or Philippine accent, you know, Vietnamese accent. So of course you get lazy. I got lazy also, and sometimes I speak like these local folks here, you know. So but anyway, I don't want to justify myself here. I don't need, I'm just explaining because I noticed that myself, you know, that when you live in a non-native speaking English in a country with non-native English speakers, then you kind of get also a little bit lazy and adopted to the way they speak here, you know. So, and that's it. So checking out now, let me know what you think. That's my story, why I stopped dating white girls and why I'm not interested at all in dating them or having a relationship with them. You know, it's not my taste. Since a long time I prefer the exotic girls, the Southeast Asian girls with the long black hair and the brown skin. Yeah? So this is what I'm into these days. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching and see you in one of my next videos. Bye bye.